Good evening, everybody. This is an impromptu Modern Playbook live on Saturday Night Fun. We've got all the partners involved. A couple of us aren't here tonight. They will be around, but look who we got. I mean, it's like an all-star crew here. We got the one and only Nico. We've got the one and only Mercenaut. Richie Dollar Bin Fodder is here, and we've got the new to everybody, Steve Horn at My Bargain Comics. Steve, thank you for joining everybody.
Thank you for having me.
We're just kind of gonna just have some fun and talk about what's going on with Modern Spec. There's been some DC fandom stuff that's coming out lately, and we're just gonna have fun and shoot the shit. It's a Saturday night, and yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. How's everybody doing on this Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm fucking super happy to be here. Elated that you guys were kind enough to join me, and really excited to have the Modern Playbook guys here to kind of shine and talk a little bit about their collecting habits and styles. I think that they've all brought some books with them that they like. I just came off of a whirlwind picking tour, and then we're fresh off the heels of fandom. So, I don't know who necessarily wants to start, but I know that Bryan and I are both really excited.
Yeah, well, let's start it off just by shooting the shit for a little bit. I know, Steve, we're going to introduce, everybody already knows Mercenaut. Everybody already knows Dollar. We're going to kind of introduce Steve a little bit. For those of you guys, oh, look at this. We've got the one and only Lucas Fashina joining us. That's what I'm talking about from Drunken Chat, son. That you can't even get any better than this. I mean, Jesus.
Full house. Hi, Lucas.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Man, how you living, man? Freaking, man, it's kind of weird to do a chat with you guys so freaking early in the freaking night, man.
I know. Jesus. What are you doing, man? You should be asleep right now.
Man, well, just got done, looking at that DC fandom.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. That's exactly what we want to talk about tonight. So, basically introducing Steve to everybody. So Steve helped with a very important project in the past that I think is one of the most important things that happened at CBSI back in the day, and that was the DCU variant hunt and getting all the information about all those books. That was kind of one of those really exciting times. I think we're going through it right now, where there's a lot of excitement on being able to go back and look through long boxes and short boxes in the wild again and finding some good stuff. When that DCU variant stuff was happening, everybody was looking for those DCU variants, and you guys went like full tilt on figuring all that stuff out. How did you get involved in that, Steve?
They just caught my eye, and I fell in with Trey and with Topher and Ben Stein really quick, and we started collecting them together. Luckily, CGC's had a DC Universe thread for a while. Just no one had pulled the different pieces together, and then I took it to a whole nother level because. When I get into a collecting niche, I just go full force. So I started discovering DCUs that no one had ever discovered before, and then I had to figure out where did these things come from. And I think we're getting closer to actually writing a follow-up article that will be sort of the secret origins of DCUs, because there were still 2 discovered this year. And matter of fact, 2 of them went in a auction this past week, which I lost out on, even though I bid $1,723. 2 guys,
wow,
outbid me on that. And then also Topher, I have to give credit to him again. He led me down a whole new collecting niche, which is promo comics. So. DC gets together with General Mills, or they get together with Burger King, or they get together with Six Flags. So speaking, I know we were talking about Batman Beyond earlier. So Topher and I wrote a whole article. It's hosted on www.mybargaincomics.com. And we have identified more DC promo comics than Silver Street or anywhere else. We're still turning up some. So hopefully DC promo comics will be the next niche. There's some really interesting ones. An article on CBSI that kind of distills it down into little digestible bites. That'll be coming out soon because the article, if you go to my site, if you go to the blog, you could spend all day reading that article. We also put together a nice article on RRP variants, and if you want to know what real RRP variances are, you can go there. So, yeah, we'll talk about this on
another time. But
Nico and I could do a one-on-one just on this.
Yeah, I think that this is gonna have to be talked about after we digest it some, because this is just coming out it's due to a lot of people. So, but this is excellent.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Steve, my question is on those DCU variants. What's the crown jewel that I should keep an eye out for?
Let's see. Well, there's some that are rare, but just not that much interest, except for freaks like myself. But in terms of value, certainly like Man of Steel 20 second print DCU. That's one of the Funeral for a Friend. That is really hard to find. I mean, there's a couple of those in that Funeral for a Friend that are tough to find, but that one particularly is very difficult. I just bought one in a lot. The sucky thing about buying the DCUs online is you usually get a bunch of other crappy 90s books that you don't want. That's what happened with me, but I was still happy to do it because average it out, it was real cheap.
Right.
Is there a Harley DCU variant, or is there just a Harley in the packs that you can buy?
Yeah, so Harley, there is no Harley DCU, but the 20 packs, which is one of the ways that DCUs were distributed, started around 93. So there is a 20 pack with Batman Adventures 12 visible from the outside, but it wasn't until late 93 that they started mixing in some DC bullets, and that evolved into DCUs in the beginning of 94.
Yeah, I remember buying a lot of those in those packs as a youngster. I mean, I would get them at Toys R Us, like toy stores. They were in a lot of toy stores.
They were in Toys R Us, Kmart, and even some convenience stores. So yeah, there's some interesting, and then there's just a lot of ways they were distributed, and we'll go into that in a future article, a follow-up article. It's about time. It's been a couple of years, right?
So shout out to Ultra Maximus. Depending on what he's got going on, we'll try and maybe bring him in later in the show if he's.
Yeah, I'd also like to bring in Patrick's friend so I could buy that Animaniacs DCU Pulp Fiction homage.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah. I remember for the longest time, I
don't have one.
I was searching for the complete set of the Green Lantern, the 48, 49, 50, and I think 50.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then there's a 51 second print. That's harder to find, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then those were pretty fun to find in the wild for a while.
Yeah, can I mention, I was pretty disappointed that we didn't hear anything about Green Lantern at DC Fandom.
Well, here's perfect talk. Perfect time to bring it up. Lucas, you were talking about DC Fandom, and that's what we kind of want to get into and talk about what happened at DC Fandom. Lucas, I know that you were kind of keeping a pretty good eye on that stuff.
Absolutely.
Did the rest of you guys watch it and keep up with it very much?
Definitely.
Hold on, Richie, your audio's not working for some reason, man. Do you have? Let's see here. Yeah, your audio is not working. Let's see if we can get him back. Anyways, go ahead. When he gets back, we'll get him back.
Yeah, I believe you were saying something, Steve.
Oh no, I was just saying I watched up until the Suicide Squad, so I watched in real time, and then I dropped off. But I figured I dominated the first part of the show, so I probably should share. You know, I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. I didn't want to.
No, you're good, man.
Get in a word.
Can you hear us, Richie?
Hey, man, it's all good just as long as you kind of bring the energy, man. And freaking don't fucking put us to sleep.
Yep.
Right?
Now we can hear you, Richie.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, so Idris Elba is playing Bloodsport. Is that correct?
Bloodshot?
No, Bloodsport.
No.
Bloodsport. Bloodsport. Right. So
You want to show him the book?
Yeah. Which book is this one?
The Superman.
Superman #4. I don't have the image.
I got it. Let me find it here.
Which
Here it is.
While you're looking for it, I will mention, since we were talking about DCUs, I think it's Action Comics 718. There's a homage to that cover.
Correct.
At the DCU.
Now we were speculating on multi other books that Idris Elba was playing, but I guess this is confirmed now as of today.
Yeah.
This is a weird character. I don't know much about this character. Do you guys know much about this character?
I own one copy of this book, and no, I don't really know much, but I really like that cover, though. Really cool.
Well, apparently the news got out because there's a guy that's got 10 copies live in a no reserve auction on eBay. I think there was a sale around $35 the last time I looked. But I was as surprised as anyone. I thought that the sort of for roles and purposes a confirmation of Bronze Tiger, but maybe I misunderstood what they were trying to do there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought I'm right there with you. And then when I heard the confirmation of Bloodsport, I was a little confused at that point.
So where did that Bronze Tiger information come from?
Well, it's been circulated and rehashed for the last Nico, year and a half?
Yeah.
At least.
Well, yeah, there was that guy that was supposed to be
at least
who's got that secret. Yeah, who's got that secret information, and he's had really good information, so he put that out there. I forget the name of the dude, but apparently this information isn't always correct, or maybe there was some type of misdirection.
Right.
That's interesting. All right, so okay, we heard that. What else? What else did they talk about? Was Suicide Squad like the first thing on the agenda today?
No,
it was the Wonder Woman panel, the Wonder Woman 1984
right, they
panel.
started off with that.
Yeah.
And it was cute. You know, didn't give me any more information that I didn't know. Linda Carter, she showed up. That was great. It was more of a love fest than informational at that point. It was like, hey, here's the actors. We still love you guys, you know. And then they actually showed some of the fans and their cosplay and everything. So it was cute. It was a interesting one and fun way to start off that little summit. So interesting.
How are you guys excited for Wonder Woman? I don't know what I feel about Wonder Woman right now. Like
I was
really excited. I was excited for it when I first saw it, but it's just been. I feel like a lot of these movies have been dragged out so freaking long.
Totally agree.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the panel with Sandman, I think, was right after that.
What? Yeah, let's talk. I really want to talk about the Sandman stuff. Did we get anything out of the Sandman stuff?
Not really. I mean, it just I think Neil Gaiman was saying how he realized that, you know, some of the stuff material had become dated, and so he was looking to, you know, not have the material date itself so much. But I can't profess to be a Sandman expert. So
yeah, so basically what he's suggesting is that it's going to be set in 2021. I think we've got some confirmation of the villain. The name of the character escapes me, but it's that Dollhouse book. Somebody in the live chat will be kind enough to remember. I think we've known that for some time.
You guys don't mind if I touch on this one?
No, hit it up, man.
Yeah.
Please.
So when I got the confirmation today that the story or continuity, so to speak, of the Sandman film or series would take place into the now, in the modern times, 2020, 2021. And that brought me back to a book that I have been talking about. I talked about it on my IG. I talked about it with Nico a lot over the last 3 weeks. And even though this character as of now is not mentioned or confirmed, but the fact that they are confirming that they're going to bring it back to modern times, 2020, 2021, I was saying that this was a good book to pick up. This was the Dreaming Waking Hours #1, cover B, and the 1 in 25 Jimenez design variant, which is the first appearance of Ruin, in which Ruin is on the front. Now, we're probably going to, I don't know. Worst case scenario, probably more likely we're not going to see this character. But if it does happen, with it coming into modern times, I could totally see them,
Right.
following the tea leaves and bringing this character in. So I think this is a good one to look out for.
Right. So yeah, so I disagree with you in them not bringing in that character because, if you look at American Gods, and that's a Neil Gaiman property as well, there's a whole bunch of new characters that are in the comics that he just brought up, and they made right into the TV series. Unfortunately, nobody's watching the TV series, but he does have a propensity of, hey, here's this character that I want to put in there. Put it in a damn TV show or put it in a damn movie, and it makes it immediately. So that Rowan definitely has a good shot at it because people love
that's
Neil
what I'm
Gaiman
saying.
stuff.
Maybe
That's a great
not
shot.
wrong. That's okay. Good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying pick this up because good. I'm glad you agree with me. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, they were kind enough to confirm Corinthian, I believe, is the villain that people are looking forward to seeing. There's been kind of competing theories about how far they'll go, whether or not they'll do like issues 1 through 16, 9 through 16, 1 through 8. And I don't necessarily know that even the people that are trying to leak the information have a good idea of that.
Right.
They're probably going to film, like 2 seasons at the same time, much like they did with The Boys. So I'm excited, really excited for that one. It'll be interesting to see if this pushes the books or not. But either way, it's one that I'm looking forward to more than anything else.
Are you guys that are out there in the I say it in the field out there searching books? Are you guys seeing many Sandman books out there in the wild? Any of those keys? You guys see many of those?
No, they're all those are dry to me.
Yeah, I never see them anywhere. I feel like those Sandman ones are the ones that are people really love those books, and they put them in their collections and they stay there. Especially 8-1, the Lucifer ones, the Air, obviously the Air issues.
Right. Right. So everybody's is going to keep going to be tired of me talking about manga and how it's so different from comics because you get like a thick ass book, right? And people will not necessarily be attracted to collecting the comics, but they love those thick trade paperbacks. They love the story all at once because once you get a Neil Gaiman story all at once, it is freaking awesome to read. Not so much comic because you're like, oh, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that square, that circle, that weird room? And you gotta wait another freaking month to figure out what the heck that was.
Yeah.
So there are some great keys out there. There's some limited edition Neil Gaiman stuff out there. I think it was one of the last Sandmans that was out there that had a little error in there. That's highly collectible. It's like $500 to $600 book that never comes out on the freaking market. But there's definitely some collectability when people are aware of it that it's out there.
I'm looking through my stuff. I got a bunch of Sandman stuff that I'm getting ready to send out, and I got those two obviously, but I also have the Sandman 75 second print and the not the Karen Berger edit air, but I think it's issue 19 air, the blue page one or whatever.
Right. Right. Now that second print, I'm trying to remember, was it the second print or the third print for that 75? I think
Second
that's the
print.
big. Yeah, that's the big book because apparently what happened was that came out even before the first print because they were trying to figure out what was going on, and apparently the either the artist or the writer had signed it or something like that, and it came out. It was just out there in the wild. Yeah, that bad boy. There you go. Yeah.
And you guys can.
I think you're mixing stories up.
He's got an idea. This is
that one.
One of the books that everybody wants just because it's so rare, right?
That's true.
But the one that everybody talks about the Super Air is number 8, the Karen Berger editorial one, right?
Yeah, that's a different one. Yeah,
that's true too.
Yeah. So
as the niche guy,
go ahead, Steve.
As the niche guy, I was going to add in. I don't know that there's any keys in this, but late in the run, they did newsstand editions. Because when you think of Vertigo, you don't think, hey, this was sold at, 7-Eleven or anything. But I guess what I think is like in the 90s, maybe college bookstores had Sandman. So I know I have a Sandman 66 newsstand, and I've seen some others. So those don't usually. Oh, okay. JJ Maxwell in the chat said there's a newsstand for 75, which is kind of the last issue. There's a newsstand for. I don't know exactly where it started in the run. I think it was pretty late, but it was as early as 66.
I feel like those newsstand variants that's something people can easily find in the wild now. I mean, obviously you're not going to find all the big ones, but I feel like you can look through a lot of books and find 1 or 2 newsstands.
Dude, I think there's 8 Berger variants out there that people have in long boxes, but they've never opened them up to see that. Oh, I've got the editorial one. I'm convinced of that.
I've never seen one. Never. Not ever seen one with my in person.
In person.
Eyes, yeah.
Neither have I. And every time I see an 8, I'm like, "Hi, can I see that book?" And then I have them take it down. I'm like, "Can I look at this?" No, okay. It's not the copy for me. Thanks. Every time drives me insane.
I think of the newsstand craziness, and I instantly think of the Spawn newsstand craziness. I mean, I was listening. I think it was Drunken Chat the other night, Lucas, where I think Ultra was talking about it. That basically any of those Spawn newsstands, if you see them, just grab them.
Absolutely, because the cheap supply of the other niche variants like the black and whites and the green and black era variants, they're drying up, man. They're becoming too expensive. So the next niche on the original Spawn is that Spawn number 1 with the UPC code. Yep. So I mean, what I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows or has put a number out there, is how many are actually out there. Like what was do we ever have a final number on how many Spawn number 1s that are actually out there?
Isn't the ratio on it as far as newsstands go? Isn't it 1 in 100?
Yeah, I thought it was 1 in 100 too. I believe
that. Yeah, I think people on eBay do that.
It's kind of a blanket statement. That's
some shit I would put on my eBay listing. I'd be like,
yeah.
You ready? Not CGC 98. Yeah. I try not to be a prick like that, but I mean, there's all. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, we all listen. We all.
I think it's probably a good estimate.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably reasonable.
Well, this kind of reminds me of those Spider-Man Camelot music variants, right? They call those 1 in 1,000 variants, right?
Well, you got to remember in the late 70s to very early 80s when comic shops came about, what 95% of comic books were bought on newsstands.
Right.
So not necessarily every newsstand is rare. You got to get into that mid-copper age where you're going into almost, or we'll say modern age, to actually start seeing a 50-50 to, and then, a ratio where you're actually getting newsstands that are actually rarer. Because, between 1977 to, I think, up to 1983, between 80 and 95% of books were newsstand.
Yeah, that blew me away. I heard that for the first time the other night, and I never thought to think about that. Some newsstands are less common, are more common than the direct versions, depending on the time. Those early 70s or early 80s books, the newsstand are way more common than the direct variants. And I've never heard anybody tell me that or talk about that. It's just something that a lot of people don't talk about.
No, you're right about that. But you got to remember also, though, that newsstand books were returnable too. So it kind of makes them not as common as maybe I'm making it sound like, but more common or as common as direct, definitely.
Yeah, but now that, and you hit it on the head, some of those late modern books that were still being sold in newsstand are the crazy ones, right? I mean,
absolutely.
There are some of those really recent books that people didn't even realize they were still selling in newsstand.
Kind of funny you brought that up. I know we're on DC, but I just want to switch to Marvel for 1 second. I got this in the mail today, which is a let's see if you can get that. It's your first appearance of the Red She-Hulk in a, look at that, newsstand. See that? Incredible Hulk instead of the direct edition.
Yeah.
Right there. This is 2008. This thing is very rare.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I would love to, and I think Ben, Mr. Longshort, has talked about it before that, he even would like to, he's brought it up in one of his videos before that, he would love to hear more information on when the newsstand stuff was officially stopped by each publisher. And I don't think we have that information.
Yeah, I don't think we do either. I saw an article by one of our friends' pages, and he was saying 2013, but he's saying 2012 was the last year for newsstand. But I know for a fact there were newsstands in 2013 because Thor: the God of Thunder run was in 2013 by Jason Aaron, and there are newsstand copies or newsstand editions in most of those issues in that run.
Yeah, these newsstands went until about 2016, 2017, maybe even as late as 2018. Yeah, and there's a question in the chat from JJ Maxwell about what do Borders and Barnes & Noble do with their newsstands that didn't sell fast enough? My understanding is the whole concept is they were returnable, so they would return them.
Right. Well, it all depends on what the particular publisher wanted to do. It's the same thing that they do now. Whereas it depends on how many you want returned. If it's enough that it's enough of a product, so if it's like 50 or 60 or whatever, like 100, 200 bucks a returnable product, then yeah, they'll say, hey, mail it back to us or whatever. But if it's not, if it's like maybe like 10 or 20, they'll say, nope, just tear the covers off and throw it in the trash.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. You'll see some of those every once in a while. You see the top third of the cover torn off on some of those major 70s Silver Age keys and late and early Bronze Age keys.
Oh yeah, man. Trust me, I've got quite a few Hulk 180s and 181s with the cover torn off, which is crazy to me. But it's only as bad as the guy who decided to make a paper mache thing out of Hulk 181s, and he didn't know that it was that important until his buddy was getting ready to open up his art exhibit, and his buddy rolled up to look at it, and he was like, "Hey man, where'd you get this paper from?" I was like, He's like, "Oh, some old dude freaking just gave me some comic book that was up in his attic, so I just fucking ripped them up, freaking used it." So he's like, really? So he's freaking there. So they called. He called all his comic book buddies, and they did the calculations, and they figured out that the value of the shit they ripped up would have cost more than he sold the fucking thing on the art for.
I love shit. That's almost. I think that's worse than the famous first Green Goblin, Amazing Spider-Man, right? That's even worse than that. Jesus.
And
you know, a lot of people did that too. There's a lot of people that have done that over the years and had no idea. I mean, I've seen stories of people going, and seeing in trash bins just golden age books.
Yeah.
Thrown away.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's why when I talk to my LCS and I say, hey, I don't give a damn if it's freaking damaged. Let me take a look at it before you freaking throw it out, right?
Yeah.
Save me one copy of everything and let me take a look at it before you freaking throw it out or before you return it.
Yep.
Right? Same here, Lucas. I try not to go around the comic book shop and go, hey, I press books. But same token, when she's like, when I asked for, hey, did you get that 125 in? Oh, yeah, unfortunately, it came back damaged. I'm like, that's fine with me, but you don't want a damaged book. I'm like, I'll press it, or I'll get it pressed. One or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's always that one guy out there, me, who's not a freaking snob and freaking would love to have a copy of it, regardless of it's a 9.8. I don't care if it's a 9.8 or 9.2. Shit, man, I got stuff on my other walls over there that are like 2.0s, 2.5s. And guess what? I still got that shit.
And some of that stuff is so rare that you just don't care what condition it is.
Exactly. And even if it's not rare, even if it's just a key of your favorite character, right? For instance, there's plenty of 3.0s and 3.5s and 5.0 of your Harley Quinns out there, your freaking Deadpool for first appearances, all that great shit out there, but people are holding it because they don't think it'll sell. Oh shit! There's a young guy who wants to break into the collection. In fact, I was just talking on Discord with a guy who's in college right now, and he wants to begin college, but he says, "Man, this shit's too freaking expensive." He's like, every time I find a good copy or anything, it's like a 9.8 or 9.6, and it's like freaking $300 or $400 freaking dollars. Well, I was like, well, that's because these fucking old ass fucking dudes, they're fucking holding everything back, man. They're not gonna fucking break it out until we're getting ready to pass on and die, man. So we're fucking holding on to that shit, man. So man, hey, don't be afraid if you've got a lower grade to just fucking put it out there. Just grab the cash while you can, and just freaking just let it flow, man.
Hey, you know what? Low grade is better than no grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Back in 2005, I was at a store and I saw a House of Secrets '92 for $10.
Wow!
And I looked at it and go, "Ew, it's not a near mint." And I passed it up.
Snob.
I know.
Yeah.
We've all done that. I remember walking into a store and this isn't as bad as that, don't get me wrong, but it's bad. I remember walking into a store and seeing a stack of Edge of Spider-Verse 2 on the comic stand. There was like 8 or 9 of them, and I grabbed them and I went, nah, she's not going to be a big character, and I put them back down. Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be that hesitation with every new character, right? But it's not of if, it's a win, right? Because like I don't know if you remember last night, Brian, when we were on getting drunk, freaking people were kept asking about the Cindy Moon and Silk, right, and all and Spider Woman and all that other stuff. It's not if she's going to hit; it's just a matter of when. When is Sony really going to start cranking out these other Spider-Verse characters that people already love? They just want to integrate the younger generation into those characters, right? So you just gotta wait. Just be patient. Keep buying. Holding on to it at a cheap price. Don't go crazy and buy it for like $300, $400. But just if it's cheap If it's there just for $3.99, $5, go ahead and freaking grab that shit.
Yeah.
And just hold
Yep.
on to it if you have the space, of course.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about DC fandom. We talked about the Sandman stuff, and we didn't really get into it other than just talking about, it didn't seem like they had dropped too many cookies for us to get excited about.
Yeah. So yeah, the big stuff that I know that a lot of people are looking at was the I wish I had my freaking notes on me. Is the games, man? Freaking the Gotham Knight games. There's a whole bunch of Batman video games that are coming out. Um, and I know a lot of the gamers are in anticipation of what's going on with that because there's like hidden codes and everything that have been left through Instagram and Twitter and everything, to include what's going on with the map, to include these, like every once in a while you would have somebody that was on a green screen and they were talking and there was like a little code and shit that was behind them. So everybody's trying to figure that out because even though we know that auxiliary is going to be like Batman. There's gonna be Batgirl. We already know Robin's gonna be in there. I saw Red Hood. I saw Nightwing. There's some other Bat affiliated characters that are going to be in these games. We just don't know who those are yet. So once again, this is where these other auxiliary new characters, I hope are going to show up, right? So, and why do you hope they show up? Because you saw the bump that Miles Morales got, right? Once he was announced on PS4. So you're hoping that some of these new characters that have been brought into the DC universe might show up in this Batman. So what am I talking about? The guy that I'm hoping for, the Signal. He just freaking popped off within the last year and a half or so. And they're trying to bump him up. They try to push him through the death metal. It's just not sticking, right? Because it's crazy because they.
Which one is the Signal? Duke Thomas?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. They're just say, hey, he is the all important thing to this whole dark death metal, and then I haven't seen the motherfucker since. So hopefully somehow he shows up in this freaking game, and somehow, so just like the Cole Kamala Khan thing, where she's not the whole big basis for the game, she's kind of an auxiliary character. She has her own little storyline going on. I would love to see Duke Thomas Signal kind of show up, and I think he was part of like these 5 Robins. I believe he was part of like a 5 Robin group that were unofficial Robins, and they were all doing their own little thing. And then of course we've got these new characters that they've just brought up. I really doubt that they're going to bring up like the Clown Hunter, Punchline, all these other new characters. I would love to see them in a freaking game, right? And in expansion packs, because that's the great thing about video games right now is that even though the product that you get in the beginning is not the finished product, so you might get those characters later. I would love to see that going on with this Gotham Knights thing.
Well, yeah, and at least we're getting Court of Owls somewhere. I was 100% sure that we were going to get Court of Owls out of this new Batman trilogy. I was so positive that like I would have bet my next mortgage payment on it. You know what I mean? Like I was in on that. And they broke my heart when that didn't happen, but at least we're getting some game stuff. I like the game stuff. I turned into one of those people because of my little brother. My little brother put me on to this. He goes, dude, you can go on YouTube and literally watch all the cutscenes to all these video games if you don't play them, and they play out like a movie. They play out like an amazing movie. And listen, man, I've been watching a lot of those over some of the real movies lately. Like all those stuff from the Arkham stuff, all those are really fun to watch. We had the Injustice stuff that wasn't turned into a comic. Some of those books are really tough to find. Some of those variants. I'm loving the game stuff, and of course, not to jump off DC, but you got the Miles stuff and all the video games that Marvel is doing. So the video game stuff you're 100% right, Lucas. It is going to be massive.
Exactly right, because the younger generation right now, they don't have time, they don't have the money to spend going to the movie theaters every once in a while. But you know what they can do? They can get their mom and dad to spend their $60 to $70 for them for Christmas or for their birthday or whatever, and they can freaking sit all day and freaking wear that freaking that controller out. And then, okay, you beat the game one day. Well, guess what? There's a whole new storyline to it. That if you go down this route instead of that route, you freaking go in and just a whole different freaking storyline. So yeah, freaking there's hours and hours of content that they can do, and we just got to figure a way from our perspective of what characters are going on and which direction these publishers are going to go, because I understand that our perspective for the comic books is great, right? And they are listening to us. Donnie Case, he confirmed that. Yeah, man, I'm fucking looking at your fucking Twitter and freaking listening to what you guys, and then he kind of trying to changes the story and everything. But what we don't have and what we're not able to influence yet are those video games. So we got to get into that realm and freaking say, hey, motherfuckers, how about this character that you just fucking put on there? How come this fucker is not in fucking video games? We got to get on that.
Movies were seen as the ultimate form of media. You know what I mean? Like, okay, all right, we have this book. Okay, now we got to turn it into a movie. We have this TV show. Now we got to turn it into a movie. Now it's like, okay, we have these great characters. Shit, we got to turn it into a video game. You know what I mean? Because Hollywood is pretty much, it's still kind of, it's still on a respirator pretty much. So,
100%.
Yeah. So video games are now probably the ultimate form of medium.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I think the use of the, Bryan, jumping back to something you said about the use of the Court of Owls in the video game, doesn't exclude them from being in, maybe it's not in this first new Batman movie, but future, because there was the panel, I think it was after the Sandman panel, but before Suicide Squad, and it was exploring the multiverse. And it was just Jim Lee, I think Greg Weisman, a couple of others. And they were pretty clear that, they don't have that role. And I think maybe they were trying to contrast themselves with Marvel a little bit, that, because this character is being used in this TV show over here, doesn't exclude them from being in a movie. And I think one of the examples they used was, Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin, both appearing in The Flash during the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. So anything's possible.
Yeah, I love how they're playing that now. I think for the longest time they thought that, no, you can't do that. You can't mix the two. You have to, keep them apart. And people are like, what? That's stupid. Like, what's the point of that? There's no point of that. If we like this person over here, it doesn't matter what size screen he's on. So I'm loving that they're finally starting to think that way.
Well, when you start freaking cutting people off and freaking laying them off, everybody's scrambling right now.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. Did they touch on that at all? I'm sure
no.
Not that I heard.
No.
Like there wasn't no jokes or anything about it.
No, which actually interesting is I really didn't hear any talk about comics.
Right.
I heard talk about the video games. I heard talk about the TV shows. I heard talk about the movies, but zero when it came to the comics.
So another event. I think it's mid-September. It was kind of late. I feel like they just announced it this week, but it almost splits this where fandom was going to be a singular event. Now it's and there was a theme for this one, and I think it was Hall of Heroes, and there's going to be another event in another 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe that'll be more comics focused. I don't know. I can't recall the
Yeah, I mean they better. They got to do something to promote their stuff.
Sure.
Let us know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because DC. I feel like DC has been really fell by the wayside. I feel like what we're seeing right now from Marvel and Donny Cates, and I said this. I can't remember if I said it last night to Lucas, but on the show or during or after the show. But I feel like what we're seeing right now from Marvel and Donny Cates is what we had with DC and Scott Snyder back during the New 52 Batman run. Everything that guy touched was amazing. Like everything he wrote was amazing. Everybody was so excited, and DC just really dropped the ball on that, man.
Right.
I think DC tends to run in 5-year cycles because you look at 2011 and the New 52, and you've got 2016 Rebirth. Maybe 2021 is DC does the next New 52 or next Rebirth, whatever they're going to call it.
Right. Well, I mean, they brought over the big man, and I've talked about this before, Mr. Brian, whatever Bendis, right?
Yeah.
He was supposed to refresh, bring some new life in it, but he hasn't really been a part of any big events right now, right? He's built some characters, but they're still sitting over there in a corner, freaking trying to get their freaking underpants on, man.
Well, he did that Leviathan event, but no one really cared about it.
Yeah, so right now the big event is there's the Deceased, and then there's the Dark Knight's Death Metal and all that other stuff, right? But I feel like those events are more like apologies for what's going on. Like hey, we kind of want to bring out these new characters, but we can't because the old guys won't let us. Oh, the old guys is Perpetua. I feel that's what the symbology of Perpetua is. She's like, she doesn't want to let the old DC universe die and let us move forward. So I feel that the fact that the whole thing is surrounding her and the Batman Who Laughs is kind of an apology letter. But okay, so you're giving an apology letter, you're explaining why stuff won't move on. What's next? And I don't see it. Right? I don't see any of these great.
Why are they not doing it like an Ultimate style parallel universe?
Aha! Right. So I was actually participating in the Reed Pop Summit 2 or 3 days ago. It's like a retail summit, and Mr. Cates, Donnie Cates, was in there, and he was talking about his new book that's going to come out in like 2 to 3 months called Crossover, right? And in Crossover, it's going to have Marvel characters, it's going to have DC characters, it's going to have Image, IDW freaking characters, including all the characters he's ever created. They're going to somehow be amalgamated into that one big universe, right? I don't think it's going to necessarily have anything that's going to push out into the other publishers, but that's where it's going to freaking sit. And then if people love that freaking book, I have a feeling that it might freaking bounce back. Once again, I've said this before. They hear you. They hear everybody wants this whole Ultimate Universe. They want to hear this whole amalgamated thing and everything. They want everybody to talk about, hey, the source wall has been broken down. So guess what? Now we can jump it back and forth between Marvel and DC. They hear you, but we actually got to support it and say, hey, we love this stuff. Do more of it.
Yeah. Real quick, this is an interesting question that Earl Molnar brought up. Here's a question: would you trade an AF-15 2.0 for an Ultimate Fallout 4 1/25 9.8? Let's hear it. I definitely would take that AF-15. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take an AF-15 over that any day.
For some reason, I still think I can find an AF-15 cheap somewhere. Like if I did hard enough. No.
Yeah, that's almost
like I still got it in my heart.
Yeah, because that's who you are.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll be tough, but it'll be something.
Well, that's almost like are you bearish or bullish? You know what I'm saying? I mean, are we going to go ahead and get behind Miles into what's happening in the modern market and see how far we can go, or are we just going to kind of stand our ground and just be safe and just stick with the first appearance of Spider-Man? You know what I mean? It's a bearish or bullish question.
That's a good answer, Dollar, because I'm a pyramid guy, whereas I use these newer books to flip, and I build towards those keys. So what I would do is I would buy 4 or 5 of these Ultimate Fallout 4s to eventually make it to a 5.0 or a 6.0 of that amazing Fantasy 15. That's the way I would do it if I really wanted either one of those books.
That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, I've already got 2 in some of these fucking boxes somewhere of the Fallouts, but all this is just working towards the big key books.
Yeah, I think that is something that's very smart that people that are playing the spec game today should definitely take advantage of. If that you think that comic books are something to invest in, and you're the smart play is taking that money, that modern money, and putting it in something like gold or something, right?
Right.
Like, listen, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's the smart play. But we're comic fans here, and we all know that we want some of those keys. So if you can listen, Golden Age comics are just about as good as gold right now. Like that stuff is.
Well, I'm just looking at the gold market right now, and it just dropped $30. So.
Oh shit! Let me buy some.
I know. Listen, I think that we talk about it a lot. This nostalgia, the nostalgia market. That nostalgia market is stronger than ever. It's so damn strong, and people also like the fact that they can go treasure hunting, right? Like this is also treasure hunting. It's a smaller form of gambling. It's almost like what the sports card market does. That's like a smaller form of gambling, and it hits those receptors, right? Those receptors, like, oh, you just hit. Listen, I'll be honest. I remember before CBSI and the G Plus days, I remember finding Carter's videos and going, holy cow, this guy's out there finding modern treasure, like literal treasure in these places. And that's what it felt like. It felt like you go out and look through these long boxes and these short boxes. You go to these flea markets, you go to these crazy stores in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to walk out of there with gold.
Absolutely, man. Freaking definitely those flea markets, man. People don't know. A lot of those people that have those long boxes, and I mean, even actually, not even long boxes, man. Just like regular freaking Walmart boxes. They don't know what to store, man, and they don't come in like bags and board. They're just in like shopping bags, and you don't even look through them. Just freaking, hey, how much do you want for that whole set?
Yeah.
So that's what I do, right? Because it'll be like August. It's freaking hot as balls. I don't feel like sitting here flipping and pulling shit out. How much do you want for the whole thing? $100. I'll give you 25 for it, right? And then next thing you know, I'm pulling out Transformers #1, G.I. Joe #1s, fucking Silver Surfer 8s. I mean, like early shit. And some of it smells bad because they didn't keep it properly stored. But guess what? There's still keys that I probably got 25 cents on the dollar. You know?
Yeah. And here's the other crazy thing is that some of those keys, like that you named, I'll be honest, I used to look at those G.I. Joe ones, those Transformers, and think, like, do I really want to grab those? And now they're
based on ranking. They're based on, I love the toys, but they're based on toys. What am I going to do with these? You know what I mean?
I got Transformers 1 Marvel as a bonus book a couple years ago, buying off eBay. You know how some of these stores like to throw in a bonus book? They threw it in as a bonus book, and so
G.I. Joe #1. I'm like, I remember like just not thinking anything of it. You know what I mean? It's just like, to me, it's like a promotional book. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like to me.
Right. And that's absolutely right. But now that we've got a little bit more of intelligence to the way the game goes, right? You're not just looking at, it's the first appearance of Duke and yada yada yada. Is what's the condition of the book, man? Because I as a little kid, hey, here's a fucking comic, freaking reading it, and then all right, pick up that fucking book. So that's the big thing, man. I forget how much one is now. But if you can get a 9.8, which is very rare. I mean, it'll bring in good money, right? Between that and any He-Man you can freaking get, all that stuff that we as a generation are growing up, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. And who the heck? Especially now that video games, man. Come on, man. I mean, not video games, movies. They're all being adapted to movies and video games and all that other stuff. I mean, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that was always hot. That #1. It was a gobbledygook, whatever. That one was always hot. You just can't get that. It very rarely comes in. And if it does, it's going to be like $20,000.
Yeah.
So,
real quick, before Nico's internet crapped out on him like we knew it would, he he dropped some books to talk about, and you guys are going to have to help me with this because that's why you guys are the modern guys. I don't know some of these books. Some of these, I guess, are some of the books that are getting hot right now because of what's going on lately. And I'm going to bring some of these out. So let's do this. This is a book that's being talked about a little bit right now, and I imagine it's because of the talk about the trailer that dropped. And this is Batman Ego. Does anybody know what's going on with this and why this is blowing up?
I know nothing.
Ooh.
Yeah, Nico is the one that dropped out. Nico's the one that left these.
Apparently, Matt Reeves said this was his inspiration for the movie, something along those lines. I don't have very much information at this point, but
I like that. I like when they come out and they say that their inspiration comes from some of these old school stories, especially some of these. Was Batman Ego a Elseworlds type tale? I don't even remember Batman Ego.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that's some I've never seen. Like
I know the working theory before this was that the movie was going to be based on the Long Halloween. So I'm not sure. I didn't. I couldn't watch the whole DC fandom. I had other things to do. So I'll have to go back and watch.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I thought it was supposed to be based off of Batman Year 2. He kept bringing that up.
Oh, right. You're right. I did see that as well.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure why people are talking about Ego and that blew up, but.
All right. Let's throw this one up here. This is Dr. Fate, the newer Dr. Fate, the newer run, I imagine, number 1. Did we hear Dr. Fate news?
I did not hear. Once again, I dropped out, so I didn't hear it. So I'm going to go back and watch it. But they have been pushing that. What's his name? Hassan Rashad. I think that's his name. And a lot of stories lately. So there's definitely something they're trying to push this guy as part of the new generation of stuff. And it's weird because out of all the new guys that they've been trying to push for the new generation, his is the only one that's stuck. But nobody's actually read anything on it. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah. All right. This is a book we all know about, and this is just obviously the JSA news and all that type of stuff. This book has been in speculators market for a while now.
Old Standby.
What's that? Yeah, Old Standby.
Yeah.
Amen.
This is an example of spec never dies. It just rests, you know? Yeah. Keeps coming back.
Yeah, and that's a great point that was brought up. Another point that was brought up on his drunken chat last night is that spec never dies. It's cyclical. I feel like everything is cyclical, right? Like I see what the fashion is nowadays, and I feel like it's stuff from the 70s again. And I feel like everything is cyclical at some point. It always goes back, and even with comic books, it's kind of crazy that some of this spec. Listen, don't get me wrong. We were going through some of those old dead spec boxes last night, and some of those are terrible. But some of this stuff, like these first appearances of these minor keys of first appearances, I don't think that these are dead spec.
Right. And somebody in the chat mentioned earlier, do not spec on DC. DC spec is dead. And the fact that even if the character shows up in a game for PlayStation or Xbox or whatever for DC, doesn't mean that'll get hot. I absolutely agree. It's just that DC has to get their shit together right now. Right, they've got to be able to bring that momentum that Marvel did for their stuff, where every little character, once you see it pop up in any project, it gets hot. DC, it just doesn't have that momentum right now. Even though they really had some really good movies, they had Shazam, which was really good. Aquaman, a lot of people loved Aquaman. They had originally had Suicide Squad, right? Suicide Squad, which a lot of the little girls they love for the Harley Quinn joint. So. Harley Quinn blew up for a while, and she was their key mark-making character. Wonder Woman did really well, right? But then they started messing up again, right? They started messing up again with this new Birds of Prey. Nobody gives a fuck about the whole Birds of Prey, that female power. And once again, I'm a feminist. I all believe in female rights and everything, but you got to do it right? You can't freaking do all that crazy stuff. Oh, female power, and then the next you know they're freaking punching each other out anyways.
Well, you've got the female-led Stars and Stripes, and apparently that book's solid. In fact,
for which one you talking about? Stargirl or
Stars and Stripes? Yeah. Well, yes. Stargirl's based on Stars and Stripes.
okay.
This comment right here, Joey, Batman Ego was Darwin Cook's first work in comics. I don't believe it was. It might have been one of his early ones. I think New Talent Showcase number 19 was his first work. But you guys will have to check on that. All right. All right. This is here we go. This is Detective. What is this?
585.
There we go. 585.
Oh, I got rid of this guy. Hallelujah.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So yeah, his first appearance of Ratcatcher, but they were very specific, explicit in the Suicide Squad, in the roster that they showed, that it's Ratcatcher 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's female. So, and as far as I know, there is no female Ratcatcher or a Ratcatcher 2. So, I have a couple copies. I don't know about this. I'd probably be selling.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Sell, right? Because none of these characters. I mean, if since the first Suicide Squad movie, we've only had 2 returning right now, right? Or is Boomerang returning? I forget which character, but not all the characters return. Why would we think that it's going to have a long time deal, or that any of these characters are going to pop off, right?
Carter said it earlier, and I think he hit the spot. It smells like another Slipknot. Right? We were all like excited for that book, and he dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
I remember searching like high and low for the first freaking appearance of Slipknot, and like what other characters who else?
El Diablo. Remember how hot El Diablo was?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
dude, I still have a nice little thick stack of El Diablo. Yes, I know that.
And that was a fun character in the comics. I remember that character.
I thought he was pretty good in the movie too.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a lot of that was crazy, right? You had a lot of death. You had an interesting backstory and everything, and then he looked great cinematically, but then you freaking kill him. Like, wait,
it doesn't make sense. I don't understand when these big movie studios will understand that you don't need to kill villains. You don't need to kill characters. You don't need to kill for some reason they have to kill somebody. Like you have to. There's a reason why they keep bringing them back in comics, because they work. Like
right.
you don't need to kill these guys.
Squad, so
Yeah, I know.
I'm on IMDb right now looking at like all the characters that were in Suicide Squad, and I'm seeing what the Enchantress. Like that book was a Silver Age book that was hot. I remember speculating on who Common's character would be. Like everybody thought it would be the tattooed man.
Right. Yeah, I do remember that.
Well,
they really messed that. They messed that movie up so bad.
What's funny is Amanda Waller's coming back, and that book still isn't really.
Nah.
I mean, maybe because there's so many copies out in the wild. But
I think that's it. I mean, Legends was the follow-up to Crisis, and I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it came out. I mean, it seems like Suicide Squad, Legends #1, the first Amanda Waller. And I don't know that it's just a print run. I was thinking about this earlier. Civilians, they never tend to get their due. I mean, even on the, the Marvel end of things, I mean, don't you think like, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and, if they're civilians and not, powered, it seems like they just don't get as much love.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Amanda Waller is a great character. She's a great character for movies. she's a character that's needed to tell good storyline, plot points, and this and that. But she's just not a good. I mean, another good example of that is who was the right hand woman to Nick Fury in
Maria Hill. Yeah.
Maria Hill. That went nowhere. And
But I mean,
Or yeah.
look who plays Amanda Waller. I forgot her name, but I mean, she's like a serious actor. She is
great actress.
Davis.
Yeah, Viola Davis.
Viola
Right.
Davis.
Viola Davis. Yes, man, she is not. I mean, I don't know if she has Oscar awards, but I know that she is super A-list. And in every character she plays, and she plays different characters, she's phenomenal. So
yeah, I agree 100%. All right, next book that I have real quick. This is an old one. I'm sure that this is some Nico. I don't remember what this is. This Fighting Five. So, anybody have an idea on this one? This is Nico. Nico's internet. Just you gotta love it. So I'm just gonna go on to the next one. This is Booster Gold #1. Did we get some Booster Gold talk?
No, Blackguard is in this, and this was an early rumor. I think it was last year. I went to try to load up a Booster Gold because I'm like, I love this because okay, say it's not Blackguard in the movie, you've still got the first appearance of Booster Gold, right? But even back, let's say October, November last year, you just couldn't find real great Booster Gold deals, and it's not a book you tend to find out in the wild. Maybe when you're buying collections, but that's different. But yeah, so the spec on this is Blackguard, who I almost got confused because they said Bloodsport and Blackguard. They kind of they both start with BL. So apparently that's the.
Is he going to be in Suicide Squad? What?
Well, you certainly don't want to buy at the top right now. You don't want to buy it if it's being run up for Blackguard. But
right,
yeah. There's always talk with the Blue and Gold movie. A Booster Gold and Blue Beetle movie.
Well, I remember when New 52 first came out, or 52 first came out. Booster Gold spec was super hot. I mean, just crazy. And Booster Gold's a great character if he's written right. If he's written right, he's a great character. He'd be a great character for a TV show, a Quantum Leap style TV show. I'm surprised they haven't done that. And you're right, the whole buddy cop type thing with him and Blue Beetle would be great. And we all read that run growing up. I know. I hope you guys did. That was an amazing run. So, I think he's one of those characters maybe where they're like, we've got so much else going on. Let's not worry. Let's put him aside for now. But so is Blackguard supposed to be in Suicide Squad?
Yeah. I can't remember who's playing him. I couldn't really track the whole list of the characters.
Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, is that so? Okay, so I think that was this one, right? The sorry, let me find it. There we go. The Fighting Five, first appearance of Peacemaker, right?
Oh, okay. So what? John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting that Pete Davidson's playing Blackguard. Is that a character that I think of Pete Davidson. Whenever I think of Pete Davidson being cast in something, I also think of Shia LaBeouf being cast as Moon Knight. Like you cast him in a role, he's
gonna die.
Yeah.
Chasing after that, he's gonna die.
Yeah. I don't think John Cena's gonna die, but they could pull a quick one on us, right?
I got because they were saying how they really like that character because he's like this guy who wants peace so bad that he'll be violent, So yeah.
Of course, this one we've all talked about this one for years, and this book has gotten hot and cooled down and hot and cooled down and hot and cooled down for a long time. There is a DCU variant for this, right?
Yeah, matter of fact, our friend Jacob from Oklahoma, he pointed out just I think it was 2 days ago that a DCU 9/8 sold for It was under $100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love this cover. I've always loved this cover. I've geeked out over it. I don't know why. It reminds me.
And I'm sure some spec site will come out with, Superboy Zero, which is a cameo of King Shark. There's there's a 0 hour variant to that one too.
Yeah.
It doesn't go for anything right now.
Really?
Yeah, I see one for like $5.
Huh.
That's crazy. And I remember in the first Suicide Squad movie, we thought wasn't there talk about this character in that first movie? I know this book got hot over the Flash series.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I felt like it got hot again following that. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, yeah, King Shark, great character. I love that character. I think it's kind of like a comedic take. This will be the comedic part of Suicide Squad, right? All right, on to the next one. The Bizarre Polka Dot Man, Detective Comics.
Is that another slingshot where the guy dies off in the first 5 minutes?
Yep, there you go. That's another Slipknot. That's got to be, right? Jesus. But it is a 12-cent Detective Comics, right?
True.
I'll take that. Superman 170. You guys know about this? I'm not sure about this one.
No.
This is Mongal. So I think that's Mongol's daughter. Now, I had always thought that Showcase 95, number 8 was the first. And I was surprised to see this come up. To be honest, I haven't had a chance to read either. I think we're speculating that she would be the villain in the movie. So,
yeah, interesting. Boomerang Man, of course. This is a big book, no matter what. Like this is a big book.
Although in the first movie, wasn't it his son who first appeared in Identity Crisis?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if they've got the same actor or not. I can't remember who played him. Because he wasn't the other Suicide Squad movie, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
This is some of these books. Like, how are you going to spec on some of these books? You can't spec on some of these books. These books are ridiculously priced already. I don't.
This
see
is the first Thinker, and so he was the main villain for one of the Flash seasons. I think it might have been the season before this past season, and I guess they're going to use him again.
Yeah, I like Jai Courtney. I think Jai Courtney is a really good actor. I wish it would have been Tom Hardy. I think wasn't Tom Hardy supposed to play that role originally in the movie? I know Tom Hardy there was talks about him playing a role in Suicide Squad at first. Maybe it wasn't Boomerang Man. Maybe it was the leader of the group. What's his name?
Rick Flag.
Oh, wow. Rick Flag.
Yeah. I really wish that Tom Hardy would have been in that movie, but it is what it is. Kent, that's the problem with DC. First appearances are in Golden Age book. That's a great point. It's a great point. A lot of these books, like let's talk about, you talk about Batman and some of those Batman books, and I know Nico's gonna hate me, talking about some of these older books, but man, like those Batman books, those Silver Age and Golden Age Batman books are so out of reach for some people that's maybe why the modern market is growing so fast. I mean, you see some of these books get to be such high price so quickly. And these Golden Age books are just already worth a ton of money that you feel like you can't get into them. Here we go. JJ Maxwell says Tom Hardy was supposed to play Rick Flag, I think. So.
Okay.
All right. Last one is this one, the Suicide Squad #2 from Rebirth. I don't know what's going on with this one either. Yeah. Sorry.
Is that the first appearance of the modern day Suicide Squad?
Okay, maybe that's it. Well, wouldn't that be #1?
That's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
The first appearance of Amelia Harcourt, but I don't even know who that is or who's playing her.
All right. Well, okay. So that's enough Suicide Squad talk. Suicide Squad talk is tiresome, to be honest. Like, I agree. I agree with Carter that this all smells of Slipknot spec. So, what else? What else we got going on with the DC fandom? Anything else?
Oh man, that was it. It was between the Sandman stuff. I mean, and once again, I dropped out a little bit. So the Sandman stuff, the new Gotham Knights games, the Wonder Woman stuff that nobody cares about because even though people love the Wonder Woman stuff, it doesn't just have that feel that anybody wants to actually watch. Even my wife, who loves Wonder Woman, and she loves Cheetah, right? I mean, when she loves Cheetah, she loves Cheetah clothes. She didn't like the look of Cheetah at all. And then what else did you see, Steve? Did you say that you were in there all that?
I kind of tuned out after the Suicide Squad panel, and then I read a couple articles afterwards. But
this was an interesting one. I know there's a lot of talk about the Static series and that Milestone universe. Yes, I agree. Why haven't we seen Static on big screen yet? I don't get it. That character needs to be up there. And if anybody has a line on that Lost Boys cover, hit me up because I want that book. Some of those later Static books are so damn hard to find. So damn hard to find.
I have damn near the complete run, and I don't have that Lost Boys cover.
Oh, it's so hard to find, man. And I had one years ago, and I sold it off, and now I regret it. I regret it every day. That's like one of the original hip hop covers, in my opinion. Like, and everybody that sees that book, they go, "Oh, this ain't the Lost Boys." They think the movie, and I'm like,
right.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to everybody in chat tonight. We got a ton of people in chat. We appreciate you guys out there. I see Dennis Hayes, Comic Lover Comics, Cover Lover Comics, Kent, Michael Palmer, a lot of people, Patrick, JJ, of course. Thank you for everybody for joining us tonight. I saw Newbie in here, Ultra's in here, Blue Green Artifacts. We appreciate you guys. Chime in. Let us know what else you guys got. This series.
Who the heck are the weirdos that are putting 19 thumbs down?
Oh yeah, we all know who that is. Yeah. That's this lovely community that we're trying to fix here, but we'll get it figured out. We just want to all enjoy our comics.
I don't like your content. Thumbs down. Jesus Christ. I mean, tell us what you want. Don't just give a thumbs down.
I know.
Seriously, DC spec equals Jarro.
Static. What? That was Static. What? 42. I think that was Static cover.
Static
40. 40. Yes, 40. I'm an idiot. I'll bring that up for you, Robert. That's a sweet cover. And I think I've talked about this one before. Let me see here. Here we go. This is the cover I'm talking about. Static number 40. For those of you guys that don't know, the Lost Boys were a hip hop act from New York back in the days. I think the Lost Boys was almost kind of like a street gang that they just kind of were either in or took the name from at some point, and put out at least three really good albums. And then I know one of the group members died, and they tried to do some stuff on their own that just didn't really happen. But this is a really good cover that would. Could you imagine finding this? And don't get me wrong, I know some of you guys don't know who these guys are, but finding this signed by all the people in the group.
That's like finding a signed Owen Hart action figure. You know what I'm saying?
You're exactly right. And there you go. Yeah, Freaky Ta. Yeah, Freaky Ta, Mr. Cheeks. Mr. Freaky Todd did pass away, but I'm sure there's got to be some of these out there that are signed. There's got to be. It'd be interesting to find out. This is the type of stuff that I love running into, right? That old autograph stuff. This also brings up another great thing, and that is that old autographs. When people would change their autographs as they go, we all know McFarlane is the big one. Those early McFarlane autographs look nothing like he does now, and you can tell some of these by their autographs how early in their career they were signing stuff, and I love stuff like that too. But that's for a different show. All right, let's see here. All right, anybody else got some fun stuff they want to talk about? What do we got? Anything interesting that's
Well, yeah, I'm seeing some interesting comments inside the chat. Cover Lover Comics is saying DC is lacking refreshing characters so much that folks freaked out over Punchline. She's not a character that could support a solo title long term. Well, she's a villain right now, right? So she's not like a Harley Quinn where she's kind of teetering the line in between being stupid, funny, and then every once in a while pulling Batman out of a fucking fire. She's not at that level yet. I hope she's not, because I just recently read a thing of her fucking holding a knife to a dude's throat. I don't want her to be Harley Quinn. I want her to be her own thing and just be bad right now. The other one that was interesting, I think, was that from Blue Green Artifacts, who was saying, seriously, DC spec equals Jarro. So if you don't know who Jarro is, it's like Starro's son, but he was raised by Batman, and right now he is the psychologically most powerful being in the DC universe. He's like about this freaking big, and he loves Batman to death, but to keep him safe and out of everybody's hair, they locked his ass up. But apparently he's supposed to play pretty big in the DC Knights Metal thing pretty soon. And then
this is interesting. Titans season 3, Red Hood and Barbara Gordon. Listen. I've talked about Titans before. I think Titans is by far the best stuff that has come out on TV or I'm not ready to say film yet, but comic wise, they did it so well. I know they hurried some stuff and some of those episodes were a little weird, but I talked so much shit about that series when it first started showing up.
You're not the only one.
Especially over the Starfire casting. I was so angry over the Starfire casting because I'm a huge Starfire fan, and it just didn't make sense to me. And you know what? I'm 100% wrong. I will say it to the day. I will admit it. That actress killed it. She was so good in that series, and it made the series one of the best things on TV. And I wish more people would have seen it. Violent, really good. It hits that nostalgia stuff. The only thing I didn't like was the actor that played Jason Todd, and I hope they change that. I don't know what they can do. I don't know. I mean, if they're going to bring back Red Hood, they got to bring back that actor, right?
So,
right.
I think you're right.
Well, I mean, they can always do a Batwoman and change them out.
Yeah, they could recast them too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just say, hey, people don't like you.
To Punchline. So the only Punchline I've read, I have to admit, I haven't been reading the Joker War story, but I did read the origin story of Punchline and the Joker 80th anniversary special. I found it really weak. I mean, it wasn't really even much of an origin story. It's kind of like this college student who has a good attitude.
Right. Exactly. They fucked it up already, right? Because once again, what's the Joker's origin story? We don't fucking know. There's like 30 of them motherfuckers out there.
I mean,
so if you're gonna tell me one, just say well, and then just tell me another one afterward, another one afterward, another one afterward. Don't fucking say this is the original story. I don't care right now. All I care is what the character is doing right now. If you want to give me some bullshit story and then change it later, that's fine. But don't freaking sell me some bullshit like that. Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
So I did prepare five books for DC spec, and I don't think, at least for the part I watched, they didn't cover. I guess there's supposed to be a new Superman, Lois, and Clark series on CW. Maybe they'll cover that at the event that's, I don't know, 3 weeks from now. But that's supposed to include the twins that were referenced in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I think it's assumed that John Kent is one of those twins.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. So I've been doing a little bit of John Kent research off and on for a while, and then I did some additional this week. Bryan, do you want to go through
I'd love to, because it's funny you're talking about this, because Lucas, I think this is something we were talking about last night. We were actually talking about that John Kent stuff being dead spec.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's such an interesting situation, because it's not that people don't necessarily care about John Kent. It's that DC is messing the character up so bad right now.
No doubt. Total agreement.
People are like, hey.
Right.
It's like you know, it's like that potato salad with raisins. You know, you're like oh yeah, and Mama's potato salad, and then you just put it down. It's like, and then you hear Karen helped, and you're like, oh, Karen helped, and you put it in front of you, and you see there's raisins and celery and shit. You're like, I'm full, man.
That just killed John Kent. I mean, it's comics. They can bring them back.
Yeah, I would love to hear some of the spec.
He didn't kill him. He killed them for those of us who love the character, right?
Yes.
So I think that's a case of John Kent spec isn't dead. It's just resting.
Yeah, let's hear some of those, because I would love to hear what you got on that.
Well, of course, people love baby spec, right? The first appearance of John Kent as a baby, and I say that facetiously. That's Convergence, Superman #2, and the pretty big print run, and then we have Superman, Lois, and Clark #1.
This was the Convergence #2. Sorry, I don't have a really great. This book had a couple of different covers to it, if I remember correctly, right? Or was there a different John Kent book?
There was the Chip Kidd, who's a graphic designer. He did some. I don't know. I guess you call it Warhol-listic.
Avant-garde.
Yeah, avant-garde. Yeah, but it just didn't work. So if you're going to buy one of the two covers, this one that Bryan brought up is the one to buy. But we know how people feel about baby spec, and I'm not one to play on a flag in the ground and go, this is the first appearance. Matter of fact, in a hangout we were in earlier this week, I was espousing my view that there's a spectrum of first appearances, because it's just so difficult these days to have a non-contestable first appearance where there's a single issue with the character on the cover with a interior full body non-shadowed appearance with multiple panels of dialogue in the same issues, no as a baby. There's no previews or anything. So I'm kind of along the lines of, buy which one, you like. And, obviously the market will develop a taste for which ones. So this is the baby appearance. Then he does actually appear as a baby. I don't think a lot of people know this. In Convergence 7 and Convergence 8. Lois is holding him. He's even on the cover of Convergence 8. Yeah, there's one of the panels. I don't know. That doesn't really excite me, but it's kind of a tidbit, right? And then you get into the great mini series that Dan Jurgens wrote that followed. There he is. Right. Okay. Yeah. So you have the #8 issue, which has that Norman Rockwell-esque cover. of him with the cape, and the final panel is him with the cape. So some people could consider that the first Superboy, and I think Lewis is even saying, you know, I always knew you were my little Superboy. But as I did more research, Superman 2 is the first one where he wears the shirt with the Superman symbol on it. But if you're looking for the first of him wearing, and see, this is where people get into the slicing and dicing of what is a first appearance. I kind of like Superman 4. He's on the cover, you know, with the cape, and yeah, I guess we don't have a
I'll
picture.
find it. Yeah, I'll find it.
Okay, but Superman 4 is the first one of him in a cover, with him on the cover wearing a cape and the shirt. He's also in the interior with the cape and the shirt, and and the whole arc, I believe, the first 6 issues of Superman, the Rebirth title, is titled Son of Superman. And then at the end of issue number 6, Clark, or Superman, introduces him to Batman and Wonder Woman as Superboy. So you can slice it and dice it a lot of different ways. For me, the real discovery was Superman number 4, I think, is kind of solid. But like I said, this is all on a spectrum. And then, you know, someone mentioned about, you know, how John Kent Speck is dead because of what they've done to him. Of course, there's been rumors about Superman's role in the DCU being elevated and then John Kent becoming, you know, Superman. So Topher's written an article in the past bringing attention to Superman number 25, which is another one, which is arguably the first John as Superman. And it's implied it's a vision of a space-time disruption. And Topher also mentioned Super Sons number 11. And that's the Teen Titans are in that book. Raven sees a future with an older Superman, John Kent. It's a little bit more solid because at least someone's saying something about this. But you know, you can John Kent Spec, you know, like a lot of Spec, it just isn't straightforward. And it'll be interesting to see what as the market develops, and as the Spec, you know, right now, yeah, it's in a funk, but you know, it's only a matter of time before the cycle hits again, and we'll see what the market likes. And you know, it depends on what they do with the character. If he becomes Superman, yeah, I know Ken said that was 5G and still dead, but there's new rumors going around. And
I still love this cover. I mean, that's one of my favorite all-time covers. I've talked about Damian, how much I love Damian. I thought Super Sons was such a wasted opportunity. Absolutely. One of the biggest wasted opportunities that's happened in comics. I don't know if they can bring him back after what they've done, where they've aged him, which was stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, kill him and de-age him. That's all you gotta do. Comic book world.
Well, what you don't want to happen is what they did with Superboy Prime, right? Where they disappear him off to another dimension, and then they had to bring him back by the power of Shazam.
And Superboy Prime was such a great character. I agree with you, Lucas. Like that when was that Infinity Crisis on Infinite Earths or something like that?
Infinite Crisis.
That storyline was so badass, man. When he got powerful, he was such a great bad guy, man. Such a great bad guy. What was the spec on this book? Didn't this have to do with John Kent also?
Okay, so what I heard. That Convergence was John Kent with an H, and this is John Kent without an H for some reason.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so that one doesn't count. That's what I heard. And I don't know where I heard it. I don't know how I heard it. That I just heard it.
I remember, and
I don't know.
yeah, I remember seeing. I bought a bunch of these books because there was John Kent Superman spec. Matter of fact, Ultra Maximus talked about this as being dead spec last night, and this is another one of those books. John, we said it. We'll say it again. John Kent continuity is a disaster. It's a disaster. It's almost like the dreaded Thanos first appearance, or not Thanos first appearance, Darkseid first appearance. You know, like it's really hard to pin that stuff down. Here's Kent says, Superman. I thought Superman Prime was coming back in Rebirth Flash. Now listen, Rebirth Flash. If they pull this one off, that Rebirth Flash stuff could be so good. I thought it was going to be an absolute shit show for the longest time, but there's a reason that they've held with it for so long. Like, there's got to be some great idea or some great story that Ezra Miller has pushed to those higher ups to keep him around, because that dude has caused nothing but problems ever since he's been involved in the Flash, the Flash world, or he's been part of issues. I'm really surprised they haven't walked away from him yet, but there's got to be a reason. I mean, they're going forward on that whole thing, and that's a great storyline.
Yeah, they're bringing all those guys back in Action Comics number 1025. So they're converging everybody. DC is a disaster period. Jesus.
I agree. It's bad. The only thing that is going good over there, in my opinion, is the death metal stuff, and I didn't expect it to go good. I thought it was, when they first announced it, I thought it was just a cheesy grab for people, wanting to get more Capullo and Snyder, right? But the Robin King stuff has been very interesting. Where do you guys think the Robin King spec goes?
Number one, I already see people cosplaying. I could already. Well, I haven't seen it, but I could already see it. I could already envision people breaking out fur coats and freaking capes and fucking making their own little fucking crowns to dress up as the freaking Robin King. Already, I could see that. Is he a recognizable character? Absolutely. Fucking, I can freaking see him from far away. I could see that freaking. Could I see some more stories with him? That's where I'm like, I'm not sure. It would be interesting how they're going to integrate him in this stuff.
Does this character have depth?
He's you got to remember he is Mr. Wayne that dressed up as Robin before he ever became Batman.
Which doesn't make any sense to me. It's so stupid.
Okay, so did the Batman Who Laughs go to like another universe and pick up the Robin King or something like that? Holy
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and listen, I get it that all the people that are involved with the metal run and all that stuff are Batman, are Bruce Waynes from another, realm or whatever. But listen, that just doesn't make sense. It should have been a Robin. It doesn't make any sense. And if it would have been so much better if it was a Robin and we had to guess which one it was, and they played it out, and same thing that's going on right now with Ronin, and where everybody's trying to figure out who Ronin is, which turtle it is. They could have done the same thing with that Robin character and played that out. There could have been good stories. I don't know.
I'll tell you what's a good read right now. I don't know that there's any spec value in it. A good DC read, but they've done the Injustice Year Zero, which is digital only. It's 99 cents. I read the first 3 issues last night. Tom Taylor Injustice. You can't go wrong. I don't know if they're gonna put that out like they did with some of the other Injustice series, if they're going to collect them in floppy form, not just trade paperback form. But that was pretty. I really enjoyed reading that.
Yeah, I think that Injustice is one of the best things that DC has done in a long time. Well, I'm sorry, not done a long time. It's been a long time since they've been doing it. Injustice is great, but they also dropped the ball on that, in my opinion. They could have done more with the comic series on that. People love that comic series. Sad.
Well, that's what the year zero. It's kind of a prequel series to it.
What else was there? There was Aquaman was good for a little while, but all of a sudden this year it turned crappy. Last year it was amazing. It was like Game of Thrones underwater. Then this year it just crapped out. Like I'm actually having difficulties getting through the lettering and the reading and understanding where they're trying to go with this whole story. It's crappy. I'm trying to see any other.
What's going on with Jeff Johns? Is that Joker thing? What's going on with the whole Jeff Johns Joker? Is he doing that?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to come out in what October.
And have they talked about that much at the
They're
DC?
doing like a million variants for it.
Yeah, I know that, but like, have they talked much about where that's going? That storyline is going.
I don't think they want to show their cards on that one. So, yeah, I think it's just 3 issues and out, right?
Yeah, 3 Jokers comes out next week. There we go.
Oh, real? Oh,
that'll be interesting. I'm interested for that just because I love Jeff Johns. I wish we could. I wish Jeff Johns would do more stuff. He's sorely missed right now.
Definitely.
So, the whole
end of the New 52. I mean, the New 52 just lost steam, in the last year or two, and this is rebirth. Losing steam.
Let's talk about. That's a great point. Do we ever see that New 52 Batman run coming back? That thing has lost so much selling power.
Well, I mean, you did just see what the Court of Owls, pop again. Not in it, right? But I mean, I'm sure you'll see that Mr. Bloom eventually again, and people get excited for a little bit. But I mean, in all honesty, I thought it was a little bit overrated.
It didn't end great.
Yeah. I don't know that Batman ever, see the amount of excitement that was just unjustified.
I would say those first 20 issues, they have some. They have collectible. The first 25, I think, have collectability to them still.
Oh well, how about the first 21? Because Duke's in 21.
Well, yeah, 21. First appearance, number 6, like you mentioned, number 7, number 28. I forgot about that. First,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, there's quite a bit of good stuff in that run. You know what I mean? I'd say probably first 30 issues.
Well, not only that, the people don't realize this, but remember when those variants, especially some of those RRP variants and those black and white variants, were going for outrageous sums of money.
Yes.
You can get those for a song right now.
Yeah.
If you guys wanted that series, wanted those variants when they came out, I remember that RRP #1 variant was like a $1,500 book, $2,000 book. I've seen that book sell for a couple $100.
Yep.
Never thought I would see that.
Do you remember when Action Comics #1 came out? That it was a black and white, just like that. When RRP
Jim Lee, right?
For like at least, God, I want to say maybe like $200-$300 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. And I can tell you how far that's dropped because in order to research the RRP article on mybarcom, and I wanted to get my own scan of it. I didn't want to borrow anyone else's scan. I bought the Action Comics RRP.
Yeah.
it was less than $20 shipped.
Woo!
Yeah, it was auction too. I'll have to pull that up and get the exact figure, but
Yep.
unbelievable.
Well,
I remember selling mine off, just going, "Oh man, it's Action Comics #1." You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean anything anymore.
yeah. So if you guys want to go check out that article that Steve is talking about, go to mybargaincomics.com. Go to the blog section, and he's got a couple articles up there already. He's got the RRP article and the guide to the DC promo, which is getting into another box of another rabbit hole. This RRP stuff or the promo stuff.
Yeah, man.
This is some of my favorite stuff, and one being showcased on here, and let's see if I can get to it real quick. That I pick up I think I probably have 5 or 6 high CGC graded copies. And that is the DC that Spotlight. What do they call that? With the first
The DC Spotlight 3 with the first Watchmen.
Yeah, first Watchmen. I think it's also got like
I have 9/8 of that, and there should be a picture in there. I'm working on getting every picture, but even though I own a copy, it might not be in there.
Is that the giant 50?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually this book right here. You got it on your cover. It's right here, this book right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that book is such a great book for early creator first and stuff like that. Not only do you have the first Frank Miller Dark Knight stuff, you have the first Watchmen stuff. You have early Alan Moore Swamp Thing stuff in there too. So beautiful book to find, and hard to find in high grade too. It was a freebie. Those freebie books, that's the whole thing. Those freebie books, man, getting them in high grade can be tough. Can be really tough. So make sure you guys go check out that over at My Bargain Comics. That
Action Comics #1, I paid $20.22.
I remember it was going for way more than that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link the. Kent is asking, what is the site? Can you link the page? I'm gonna go ahead and just link it in the comments so you guys can see it. He's doing some fun things over there, so make sure you guys go check it out. We have we're gonna end this here in shortly, but I want to. Carter, did you have any books that you want to talk about?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I 100% do.
I want to. I fanboy over Carter, and he knows it. I give him shit for this all the time, but you guys need to go check out Mercenaut's YouTube page. Make sure you guys go do it. It is a staple in this comic spec community, and it definitely needs. Everybody needs to go subscribe there. So, all right, let's get into it.
All right, now this is a book that I just picked up. Doesn't go for shit. All right, so we have, okay, the Glare Monster is strong.
Yeah.
Do this right. Okay, so we have Avengers Arena #1. This is a 1 in 25 variant. I wrote down some info on this. So this is the first appearance of Rebecca Riker. So she's basically a girl with the Deathlock cybernetics attached to her.
Ooh.
And also the first appearance of the Braddock Academy, first appearance of Kid Britain, first appearance of Nara, who's a Atlantean, first appearance of Cullen Bloodstone. So that's Elsa Bloodstone's brother. So this has a plethora.
I love that. Thank you.
First appearances, and this book doesn't go for anything. So I think I paid like $20 for this. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. I'm not a fan of the cover all that much, but it's a 1 in 25, and
I love Braddock spec. I'm a big Captain Britain fan. I'll take any Braddock spec.
I know, right? So 64,000, around 64,000 and a half copies. So probably 2,000 of these are out there. So, yeah. So,
I like that.
Avengers Arena number 1, 125 variant. Now, this is my favorite book. I love this book with all of my heart, soul, and might. So we have all new dupe. All new dupe, number 1, 1 in 20. I believe this is a 1 in 25 variant. I think earlier this week there was something on dupe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know X-Force number 116 that got real hot. You know what I mean? So, and that's the first appearance of dupe. So here's a really cool dupe variant. Addy Granov did this. You know, that book, and this book doesn't go for anything either. You know, like
Great cover.
Probably this might be. I'm thinking this might be a maybe a $10 book or something like that, and probably I'm thinking maybe there's about 800 copies of these kicking around.
I love it.
Dupe number 1, 1 in 25, and here's some. Let's not leave out DC. So we have Batman Beyond number 1 from what is this from? It's from August 2010. This is a 1 in 25 variant. This book doesn't go for too much. This is maybe a book you can pick up for ratio. The print run on this is 1 in 25. About 35,000 copies were printed. So maybe there's about 1,400 copies of these out there. I don't know who did the cover on this. Darn it. But it's a different cover. It's a nice cover. I don't see too many Batman Beyond 1 in 25 variants. You know what I mean? So, and this is number 1. So, I like the cover.
I like it.
And we got one more. What is this? We have Amazing Spider-Man what number is this? Number 642. This is another 1 in 25 variant featuring the Sinister Six, drawn by John Romita Sr. Romita.
Okay.
Sr.
Okay.
All right. So 60,000 copies were printed, and so probably maybe 2,400 copies of this variant are out there, and it's the first appearance of Stanley Osborn. It has a first appearance, so it's the son of Harry Osborn and Lily Hollister. So
Interesting.
Nice little first appearance.
The real Sinister Six, not
Yes.
not to be confused with the book that is going for ridiculous amounts of money. That was on the hot CBSI Hot 10 the other night.
Yes. Not that Dollar Tree knockoff. No.
Yeah, not that one. But I'll take original Sinister Six every time.
Yes.
Especially by John Romita Sr. So
A master. Yes.
And some of those books, I'm always back to thinking about that Ditko variant, that super ridiculous Ditko variant, Spider-Man variant that sells for so much. Some of those,
yeah,
that thing is ridiculous. So some of those greats, those Silver Age, Golden Age great artists that could still do some of those modern variants, or they put those modern variants out, are very collectible. Very collectible. So, Lucas, what are your plans? Are you guys got any plans coming up for a drunken chat?
Let's see. Nick says he drunk too much already, so he's already passed out. I don't know when.
Ultra.
Ultra's in there. If he's in there, if he wants to hop on with us, or we can do whatever. And then Mel, I don't know. He's hanging out with the wife. So if you want to do something with me, and Ultra wants to do with something with me, I'm down. And if we don't have to freaking jump off of this. We can freaking do it right here if you want. I'm down to do it wherever.
Yeah, I why don't we simulcast this shit? We'll simulcast this shit, and we'll jump over on. We'll have everybody meet us over on Drunken Chat, and we'll go through some previews. Why don't we do that?
Okay. We'll have to get a hold of Mel because he's got the keys to the kingdom right now.
He's got the keys to the kingdom. We'll see if you can get a hold of him. If you can't, we will do it right here. We'll go ahead and end this show, and we'll just keep your eyes open, guys. We're going to try and get something going here shortly for some previews talk. So we'll either do it here or we'll do it over at Drunken Chat. Make sure you guys keep an eye on the Modern Playbook stuff. Got a lot of guys, a lot of heads together that are just trying to have fun and talk about this stuff. So keep your eyes on Modern Playbook over here on Flipside. Make sure you guys go check out Mercenaut's channel on YouTube. Subscribe. If you guys aren't already subscribed over there, there's something wrong. Make sure you guys go check out My Bargain Comics. Steve is doing amazing stuff. And, of course, Drunken Chat Son and Comic Crusaders, where you can find Lucas all the time. So thank you, guys. Shout out to Dollar Bin, who is having some technical difficulties. Shout out to Nico, who always has technical difficulties.
Hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a charity to get them some better internet.
Jesus. Oh man. So we will see you guys next time. Stick around, guys, in the back room, and we'll figure this out. We will talk to you guys later. Adios.